So you referenced brand keywords, and it's interesting. I mean, you guys, we talk a lot about at these conferences brand keyword buys, direct response buys. You guys are interestingly, in a lot of non-DR focused areas. So how do you emphasize and how do you have patience with search if it's not driving just lead gen or if it's not driving a specific sale or something? I mean, Dan, I guess start with you because you kind of referenced branded queries, but when you think about whether it's SEO and investments you make there, or you think about these what we would call up the funnel experiences of awareness and consideration, how do you internally discuss where you make your investments without it having that kind of one-to-one return that we can see a lot of times down the funnel in search?
Yeah, so that's something we've been exploring this year too. I mean, there was the discussion yesterday around seeding the viral to see how it carries on after you've stopped paying for it, and we kind of found ourselves forced into a situation this year where we got a call from the president of the U.S. and said not Barack Obama, another guy.
We almost had breaking news. The president was calling SAP about keywords.
But he was talking about a particular keyword, a generic keyword, and he said, we are the leader in this space. Why are we not appearing in the #1 spot when somebody types it in Google? We were at a sales meeting this week and we didn't appear, and so it kind of started this whole conversation around being in that consideration set. What's that? What's the value of being there? What does it buy us? If we're trying to enter a category or try to promote ourselves as a leader in that category, how much of a premium are we willing to spend to be there? And so it's an interesting concept because for so long we've been preaching that that search is a low cost, very efficient tactic and channel for us. But it's kind of we're going there a little. We're cautiously entering that space because I think there is some value to it. We don't know what that value is yet. We're still trying to get that figured out. But it's definitely something that people are now. I mean, the fact of the matter is that every single person at some point in their buying cycle goes to a search engine and types in SAP or types in enterprise software, or types in CRM, and looks to see what they can find. And so when you're putting yourself up there in that consideration set, there's some value to that. We just have to figure it out.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, those who were here yesterday for Facebook, there's a stat they cited from a study we did a year ago about search and social, and the next iteration of that's coming out probably in about a month's time. And in the first iteration, we looked at how search and social play together in kind of a very correlated manner, and this one's a much deeper dive into specific journeys people take. And, as much as we talk about attribution and hitting lots of places, one of the takeaways I think we'll find from it is virtually no one just makes a buy off of a social engagement. There's multiple touch points, and there's far more people by significant scale that will just do paid search or just do search and buy than social. So I think this balance of exposures and figuring out the right ordering of things is kind of key. I mean, so Jeff, for you, the DR, you're not selling diapers. I mean, how do you guys budget for that?
Yeah, it's tough. We've moved again to these commercial program ideas that do have an engagement mechanism, right? We do want them to individuals to get involved, and that could be through a number of ways. The way we actually look at brand keywords and commercial program keywords and category keywords is in a combination of how we flake them out. One thing that brand keywords actually provide us with is continuity and actually ownership in a very, very competitive category. We have had some times where your competitor will come up as when your brand's chosen. We don't want that to happen. So it's a combination of using the three to flight out the year and provide you with the presence and as well as protect your own media. When it comes to choosing media and how you organize your media and where you put your first dollar, it's always difficult, but we put everyone at the table at the same time. Markets move differently. That's always a difficult part of what we do, but work around that so that we have those conversations prior to markets moving, so that when we look at what we need to do, what our marketing challenge is, and what this engagement mechanism is, that everyone has a voice at the table, and sometimes it's all shopper, it's all in-store. And sometimes it's searches up right from the top, and search in another vehicle and how we could drive to that vehicle to move that engagement. It depends. It typically is just a mix, and a mix that's optimized to that mechanism.
So Matt, let me, I'm keen to hear your point of view on that, but I also, I'm looking at the wall, and it seems somebody has awakened over here in the corner. So thank you, Aaron. How do you, this notion of where do you put your first dollar, unless you only put your second dollar out once your first one's spent, it's, how do you think about, where you're going to make the DR type investment versus the brand type investment, and how do you go through the process, since you control all of the media, to decide where these places kind of go?
Well, I guess my answer would depend on what type of conference I'm at. So search gets the first dollar every time.
Well, we appreciate that.
I think it's a little basic to think of if all media planning is done with here's my first dollar and then I go on to my second dollar. And the way it really more works is, we've been doing this for 10 years and we have a pretty good idea of where and how we want to spend our money year over year. So the allocations really don't change. Every media type from search to TV gets an investment. I think within the search channel, I guess where it gets real, tactical is, all right, I spend all my money with Google, and then what's left? Then that's Yahoo Bing. And that's unfortunate because I'd like to give more money to Yahoo and Bing because they send a lot of great traffic. There's just not enough. So I think that as we look at our allocations year over year, and we're in the process right now, we do a look back to look forward kind of approach. And so is each media channel being spent into so success can be made? And if it's not, then we will then trim out other channels. And I guess the ultimate question is, are we valuing search as a channel? And I don't know if anyone's working with brands and you're still having to sell in the idea of paid search. That would be shocking.
Yeah.
That would be shocking.
So we got a couple minutes left here. And everybody loves it's that time of the year when everybody loves to talk about trends and what they're watching for the future. So let's just run down the line and give me a trend you're watching that you think is going to have specific to search, either in the execution of it or the influence of it, that you think is going to have some sort of material, kind of impact to your business.
I would say the emergence of new search creative types, I guess, the multi-linking strategies, all that kind of stuff, which, it's hard for me sometimes to sell into creative types because they like 60-second spots and spreads in the Wall Street Journal. So there's not an emotional attachment there. But I think that these new ways to communicate on the search platforms will be, to get back to the content question, a better way for us to test out new content pushes. The biggest trend for us that search certainly plays a part of is the concept of mobility. Our target audience is on their BlackBerry all the time. So how does search within a mobile device, how do we invest into that? How do we make sure that our content is mobility enhanced, et cetera? It's a major point of emphasis for me.
Yeah, it's interesting, and we'll come on to the others. We haven't heard a lot about mobile at this conference, and we haven't talked about experiential and tablet devices, but clearly the way people are going to consume this content that you're creating and the way they're going to find things in the future is really going to challenge you. So, Jeff, from your perspective, what are the trends you guys are looking at and going, boy, we need to go there, or we're already going there, and the space is catching up with us?
Yeah, and you brought up earlier moms, a significant target for us, specifically for a baby care child. The intersection of search and social and moms is a really exciting opportunity for us. Moms, especially young moms, are social mavens. That's where they communicate. That's where they connect. The way we can engage them, the way we can deliver content to them via search and social is really exciting. And that's we're putting our toe in it, and we're starting to work through it, but that's one that we're watching.
Yeah. Dan, what about you?
Yeah, what they said. No, for us, really, it's obviously we want to see how mobile develops. We want to figure out how people will be, whether it's demand gen or just information gathering, discovery, what it is and how they're using those mobile devices. But the other thing for us, too, is we've done it, like I said, we've done a good job over the past 3 or 4 years building our search team, building our integrated media team, building, over the past year and a half or so, really a social practice. And so the focus next year is really around bringing all those together, and because we see there's a huge opportunity that we're leaving on the table by not being a little bit more intertwined and learning from each other. And so for us, it's synergy across display, across social, doing a better job, like I said, of working with our SEO. So it's really around that integration piece.
So let me ask you